This episode of Against the Odds is brought to you by Card Kingdom. To pick up the deck and support the show, follow the link in the description box down below. Alright, Against the Odds time. Playing some Fraying Sanity in Modern. And this hand is pretty good. Opponent has Breeding Pool and Attune with Ether. So this has got to be a Marvel deck. Marvel, Breach, blah, blah, blah. Problem we're going to have with this is that means Emrakul is in their deck, most likely. Opponent passes. Play Ghost Quarter. Play Mesmeric Orb. Wow. Okay, opponent counters. Sure. Well, if they don't have Emrakul in their deck, then that's awesome. Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot. Well, since we drew Thoughtseize, let's wait on our Fraying Sanity. Time Stretch, Marvel, Harness Lightning. Well, take Marvel, pass the turn. The fact that they censored a mill spell, that means they must not have Emrakul? Like, if you have Emrakul, why censor a mill spell? Crack Polluted Delta, get a Watery Grave, tapped. Play Ghost Quarter, play Fraying Sanity, number 1, pass the turn. Opponent cracks their Puzzle Knot, another Puzzle Knot. Well, let's Fraying Sanity number 2. Thought Scour, milling our opponent. Pass the turn. Yep, there's Emrakul. Oh, good lordy. Why are they countering our mill spells then? Pass the turn. Opponent has Sleight of Hand. There's a Serum Visions. Well, we get to ruin their Scry. We basically got to find our Crypt Incursion, and then we can win. Ether Hub. So, Thought Scour, mill our opponent. There's Mind Funeral. Mills. Hits an Emrakul. Come on, Crypt Incursion! Mesmeric Orb. I don't even think it's worth playing here. Pass the turn. Watch this end with our opponent Emrakul! Oh boy. Thought Scour, mill our opponent. We draw an island. There's an Emrakul, number 4. Come on. Glimpse. Alright, pass the turn. Opponent glimmers. Oh, this is so miserable. It'll get easier after sideboarding when we bring in all of our surgical extractions. Aetherworks Marvel. Well, we better negate that. Oh, it's an Emrakul. It's an Emrakul again. The bigger problem is, oh man, if we draw a Crypt Incursion, I think we can win because we can potentially just mill our opponent's entire deck and get all the Emrakuls in one shot. Pass the turn. But there's not even sense in us doing anything until we draw a Crypt Incursion. Opponent plays a tap land. Cracks Puzzle Knot. Sure. Crypt Incursion. Pass the turn. Glimmer. This is the nightmare. Not a Crypt Incursion. Well, pass the turn. We're going to start discarding the hand size. Another Glimmer. Mill. Discard Mesmeric Orb, which would kill us. Breeding Pool. Come on, Crypt Incursion! Well, let's Inquisition. Oh goodness. They have 3 Emrakuls in hand. 3! Oh, they probably have a 4th one. They only have 1 Emrakul left. The problem is they're going to start time stretching. Alright, so wait till our opponent's draw step. Ooh, mill 2 Marvels. On our opponent's draw step, we will Ghost Quarter a... doesn't really matter. Stomping Ground, I guess. Opponent gets an island. And, I mean, we might as well try this. They probably have, yeah, they have 1 Emrakul left. Mills a Emrakul. Mills a Emrakul. Come on, Crypt Incursion. Flooded Strand. Play Flooded Strand. Ooh, okay. Pass the turn. Ooh. Come on, Emrakul at the bottom. Oh! Oh, we might be doing it! Oh my god! Emrakul's in the bottom! Emrakul's in the bottom! Oh, it's in the bottom 4! It's in the bottom 3! Oh, our opponent gets to discard the hand size? Oh my goodness! Now there's 2 Emrakuls. We're trying so hard to play around these Emrakuls. It's not gonna work. We need a Crypt Incursion. There's not even any reason. Maybe we should just scoop. Well, that's Mind Funeral. Yeah, it's gonna hit an Emrakul, unfortunately. None of this matters without a Crypt Incursion. We mill our opponent's entire deck. Oh, there's an Emrakul. Sure. Hey, there's an Emrakul. Oh, this is the worst. This is the worst. If we draw a Crypt Incursion, we can still win. Discards an Emrakul. Emrakul shuffles back in. Well, this will get easier after sideboarding. To the point where we're probably favored after sideboarding. Crypt Incursion? Nope. Pass the turn. Opponent passes. Discards an Emrakul. So all the Emrakuls are back in the deck. Oh, man, we made it kind of close. Come on. Well, let's crack this. Thin our deck. Crypt Incursion? Mesmeric Orb. Not going to cast that. Pass the turn. The bigger problem is our opponent's going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now they can start time stretching, which I'm assuming means we're just dead anyway. Oh, they have a Marvel? All right. Well, fair enough. Gets a sleight of hand. Well, I guess we're still drawing live for Crypt Incursion this turn. Glimpse. That's not Crypt Incursion. Pass the turn. Plays a land. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll let our opponent play it out. As soon as they hit an Emrakul, we'll scoop. The problem is they can just hardcast Time Stretch. There's an Emrakul. All right, so now we're going to concede. Good news is we get 2 negates. We get 2 Ley Lines of the Void. We get another Crypt Incursion. We get 3 surgical extractions. Go down Damnation. Go down Dismember. Go down the Fatal Pushes. Go down Traumatize. Go down Inquisitions. And try it like that. Well, there's a Crypt Incursion. We'll keep. Play Darkslick Shores. Pass the turn. Opponent has an island. And Certain Visions. Yep. And passes. Play Watery Grave. Might as well play it untapped. I don't think we're going to die to random beats. It's either Emrakul or nothing. Scalding Tarn for our opponent. And Sleight of Hand. Man, how we would love a surgical. Play an island. Yeah, I think we'll just pass for now. Opponent cracks Scalding Tarn. Thoughtseize gets better if we find surgical. Opponent, Ether Hub. Yep. And there's a Puzzle Knot. Get some energy. Alright. Well, play Flooded Strand. Thoughtseize our opponent. Leyline, Emrakul, Attune, Spell Pierce. I guess we just take Spell Pierce. Pass the turn. There's Ether Hub. Yep. So, negate. Still would love to find surgical. More Mind Funerals. Play the island. Pass the turn. Opponent. And that's game. Top deck's Leyline. Geez, that's brutal. Yeah, I don't think we can win now. Ghost Quarter. Pass the turn. Opponent passes. Yeah, we're going to scoop. I don't think we can win from here. The only way we could mill our opponent would be Mesmeric Orb. The problem with that is our opponent's graveyard will shuffle back in at least once, and ours will not. So Mesmeric Orb will mill us out. So there's just, yeah, I mean, we're not going to beat Leyline. We'll scoop it up. That's an awkward matchup. Our deck is hoping to avoid Emrakul in game 1, not run into main deck Emrakul. Alright, Budget Magic time. Playing some Fraying Sanity in Modern, and we got the nut draw. I mean, Fraying Sanity double Archive Trap should be game. Opponent leads on a Temple to the top. Alright, that means we're going to Watery Grave, untapped, Thought Scour, mill whatever our opponent scried to the top. Fatal Push, not super helpful. Pass the turn. Lotus Bloom, ticking down. And there's a Prism. So opponent's got the mana. We do not. Let's Thoughtseize. Double Ad Nauseam. Well, take Sleight of Hand. Play Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. Certain Visions for our opponent. Plays a land. Another Lotus Bloom suspended. Problem is I think we're dead next turn. Alright. Crack Polluted Delta. Grab a Swamp. Play Fraying Sanity. Opponent gets a Lotus Bloom, and they just scry to the top. We know they have Ad Nauseam, which means we're dead to Angel's Grace or Phyrexian Unlife. There's a land. Alright, not yet. Come on, mill cards. Crypt Incursion. So I guess we pass the turn. Lotus Bloom ticking down. Sleight of Hand for our opponent. Sleight of Hand for our opponent. We are still dead to tons of things. Yep, alright. There's Angel's Grace. The no fetches got us pretty good with Archive Traps. Alright, so against this deck, Negates come in, Surgicals come in, Inquisition comes in, and Echoing Truce come in because of Leyline. Go down Damnation, go down Fatal Push, go down Traumatize. Run it like that. Ooh, alright, well, this is a very good hand. Opponent, going to 5. Alright, well, Watery Grave, untapped. Lead on Thoughtseize. We'll just take Prism. Not super scared of the other stuff. Temple for our opponent. Scries to the top. All right. Well, let's just do this now. Thought Scour, mill what our opponent scried to the top. Probably a land. Play Watery Grave, tap, pass the turn. Oh yeah, this is going to be a Fraying Sanity game, I think. I don't think we quite win on turn 4, but we're going to win on turn 5, I think. Play a Swamp and get our Fraying Sanity down. Pass the turn. No milling yet. Lotus Bloom suspended. And a Gemstone Mine. And here's Unlife. Yep. Opponent passes. Ooh. Well, play Flooded Strand. Start with Mine Funeral. All right, come on, Mine Funeral. Be good to us. Oh, that's pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. Doubles to 28. And then I guess we just do this now, too, for 2 more mills. So grab an island and just Thought Scour, mill our opponent. Ooh, and an Echoing Truth. All right, yeah, we're in good shape. So 16 cards milled. 16 more to come. And we should have the win next turn. Opponent, Leyline of Sanctity. Okay. That is annoying. Another Fraying Sanity. So we should just be able to win through Leyline here. We can just bounce Leyline, Glimpse, and then win. So bounce Leyline, and finish things off with Glimpse. Whew! Alright, that went pretty well. Do they even have Lab Maniac? Oh, they do. Alright, well, opponent's out of cards. So you can Angel's Grace to stay alive, but it doesn't do anything. Sweet. Well, that is about exactly how we want that to go. Yeah, let's run it back like that. Well, this hand is pretty good if our opponent doesn't lead on Leyline. If they have free Leyline, we're in trouble. Feels like they're mulliganing for Leyline. Well, they're going really deep to find a Leyline. All the way down to 3. They must really want that Leyline. Did they find it? They did not. Alright, well, things are probably good for us. There's a sleight of hand. Opponent passes. Oh, and an extraction. Well, we might be able to just win right here. Thoughtseize. Take on life. Alright, I guess we don't just win yet. If we can get rid of Ad Nauseam, mill and Ad Nauseam and Surgical, then we should win. Opponent has a Plains. Well, Pluto Delta, crack it. Watery Grave, life total, not relevant. And we're just going to fire off a Glimpse. Pass the turn. Did not hit an Ad Nauseam. Opponent passes. Well, let's do it again. Glimpse our opponent. There's Ad Nauseam. Alright, play Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. And we'll just draw step, extract Ad Nauseam. And this should do it. I mean, our opponent mulled the 3, which also helps, but really hard for this deck to win without Ad Nauseam. Alright, get rid of the Ad Nauseams. Opponent's hand, whatever. Sleight of hand for our opponent. So how do we lose? I guess a Lab Maniac would be the way I could imagine losing. Crack Polluted Delta. Grab a Watery Grave. Tapped. Play Ghost Quarter. Play Mesmeric Orb. Play Mesmeric Orb. Pass the turn. Opponent gets milled. So all we really need is to get rid of that Lab Maniac. Opponent passes. We get milled a bunch. Ugh. Echoing Truth down. We draw land. Well, play the land. Pass the turn. Says devolved into a very awkward game. Spoils of the Vault. What is our opponent doing? Are they just going suicide? Is this the I give up? What do they name? They name Lab Maniac. And our opponent named Lab Maniac. Wanted to get the Lab Maniac. Unfortunately, it was way down at the bottom. And yeah, -2. Alright, against the odds time, playing some Fraying Sanity in Modern. And I guess this is fine. So, Darkslake Shores, pass the turn. All in Briskites. Alright, let's Thought Scour. Mill our opponent. Arbiter and Spectral Procession. Okay. Opponent passes? Passes. A Watery Grave. Untapped. And let's just Mesmeric Orb. Pass the turn. Mill 1. Ooh, Perforos, good lord. Clifftop Retreat. Opponent passes. Well, come on, land, please. Traumatize, that's the anti-land. Alright, let's Thought Scour, see if we can find a land. Thought Scour, see if we can find a land. Alright, there's a Ghost Quarter. That is a land, so we got there, eventually. Pass the turn. Thankfully, our opponent seems to be playing some actual creatures, and not just all token producers. Oblivion Ring. All right, gonna hit our orb. That's fine. We actually have our Traumatize, so if we draw Fraying Sanity, we could get the combo kill. Although, very possible we just kill our opponent before that. Let's Mind Funeral. Ugh, that is a horrible Mind Funeral. The worst Mind Funeral, even. Okay, pass the turn. There's Spectral Procession. And passes. Fatal Push. Yeah, let's just pass. We'll probably just kill Windbrisk Kites and then Archive Trap and then Crypt Incursion. So kill Windbrisk Kites. Opponent gets a land. Alright, that's fine. Gets in for 3. And we need pretty much any mill spell. Blade Splicer. Alright, well, let's Archive Trap. And then I think we are just going to Crypt Incursion. Should gain a decent amount of life. Oh yeah, up to 36. Now we have a lot of time. If we draw land, we get to Damnation. Mill spell should win us the game. Alright, yeah, let's just Damnation. Pass the turn. You can see the the problems with Traumatize. Right now, with our opponent down to 18 cards, it would be 5 mana mill, down to 17 cards. 8? That is not a lot for 5 mana. Another Blade Splicer. And a Thraben Inspector. That border looks kind of weird. See that? Huh. Well, let's Thought Scour. Mill our opponent. Alright, there's an Archive Trap. Well, if we draw a land, we should be able to win. Goes attacking. Yeah, let's just kill the Golem. Down to 34. Leonin Arbiter. And Precinct Captain. Alright, glimpse our opponent. Oh, we're so close. We need a land. We need a single land. Thankfully, we're at 34. Can we just run out the clock? I mean, it's going to be hard to lose from here. Land we win, mill spell we win. What's bad? Discard is bad. Removal probably makes us win. So discard or actually Fraying Sanity would be our worst draw. Another Arbiter. Oh, geez. Another Arbiter. Well, come on, non-fetch land. Ugh! Deck! Oh my god, we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose! If they only had 2 Arbiters, we'd win, but they have 3. Now a Thought Scour wins us the game. That's how little milling we need to do to win this game. We just need a Thought Scour. Here comes the dorks. Yeah, they get another dork. Down to 17. Oh, come on, deck. Come on. Thraben Inspector. Just a 1-1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Well, they can't kill us this turn. So we get 2 turns to draw something. Okay. Oh, Fraying Sanity. Oh, it's the worst time for that. Oh, my goodness. Oh, don't tell us we're going to do the classic 1 card in the deck loss. Yeah, opponent hits us for $1 billion, but we're not dead. We go to 2, I think. Opponent gains a life. Not relevant. All right, we're at 3. So many things win us the game. Oh! Okay. All right. If our opponent has a non-land card in their hand, we win the game. Ah! No! Oh, when we named off the ways we could lose, we drew every single one. Oh, every one! Seriously, we said, here are the things that make it so we're going to lose from this position. And we just strung them together one after another. Okay. Well, bring in the Damnations, bring in the Crypt Incursion. We'll go down Dismember. We'll go down, I think, Inquisitions. Let's go up 2 Echoing Truce and go down the Negate. That is the most mill thing to do. Get your opponent to a single card in their deck and lose. Alright, we're going to keep this. It's a little risky because we only have 1 land, but if we hit a land, it is kind of the nuts. Opponent leads on Thraben Inspector. We'll crack this. Get a Watery Grave, untapped. Cross our fingers that we hit a land here. Thought Scour, mill our opponent. Land, please? No, not a land. Oh dear. Well, come on, deck. Don't do this to us. Alright, there's a swamp. And I think we just pass. Opponent. So 1 more land. Come on, deck. Twice in a row. You can do it. Pay us back for last game when we drew all those Fraying Sanities. Another Thraben Inspector. Ooh, does our opponent have a one-lander? Ooh, okay. Come on, land. Yes! All right. Flooded Strand, crack Flooded Strand. We'll just grab an island, and it's Fraying Sanity time. Pass the turn. Oh, boy. All right. So good things start to happen next turn. So I think we should be able to kill our opponent in about 2 turns. Opponent gets in. Down to 13. And passes. Well, let's start with Glimpse. Mill our opponent. And then Thoughtseize. I guess we just take an Arbiter. Pass the turn. So 11 cards in the graveyard. 11 more milled. And our opponent scoops it up. Can't beat the Fraying Sanity. Or their 1 mana. That might be the bigger reason. That was better. Thank you, deck, for those lands, by the way. You're somewhat forgiven for game 1. And, alright, we'll keep this. Thought Scour, Crypt Incursion. Crypt Incursion is pretty huge. Opponent leads on Windbrisk Kites. Yep. And passes. Ooh, Mesmeric Orb. Play Darkslick Shores. Pass the turn. Plan on Thought Scouring. Another land for our opponent. And there's a Ratchet Bomb. Well, let's Thought Scour. Mill our opponent, draw a card. Another land. And play Darkslick Shores. Play Mesmeric Orb. Pass the turn. Opponent's taking up Ratchet Bomb. So mill 3. No creatures. Clifftop Retreat. There's a Blade Splicer. Yup. Opponent passes. Well, let's glimpse our opponent. Play a tap land. Pass the turn. Okay. Opponent sacks right away. Does not stop the triggers. Mill, 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 mill. So opponent's down to 30. We're halfway through their deck. Gets in. Down to 17. Down to 16. And another Ratchet Bomb. Sure. Opponent passes. Well, let's just play Ghost Quarter. Pass the turn. Opponent's taking up Ratchet Bomb. Battlefield Forge. And opponent gets in. Down to 12. Thraben Inspector. Yep. Gets a clue. Alright. Well, we might as well Crypt Incursion Part 1. Go up to 27. Play a Glimpse. Mill our opponent. Watery Grave. Tapped. Pass the turn. Opponent's down to 19. Oh, we're getting close. I think we're like 2 mill cards away. Opponent's down to 18. Sacks the clue. Opponent plays a land. Goes to combat. So kill Windbrisk Kites. Wow, opponent's out of lands. Alright, well, Strip Mine mode activated. Opponent gets in. 17. We're getting so close. Down to 22. Arbiter. Sure. Opponent passes. Thought Scour is not bad. Let's just Thought Scour right now. Mill our opponent. I think we're going to play Mesmeric Orb. Our opponent can blow it up, but they're going to lose their Arbiter along the way. Yep. Alright. That's fine. So it's another creature in the graveyard. We're down to the 1 mill spell range. 1 Archive Trap closes out the game. Uh-oh. There's Perforos. Yikes. Well, we'd like this 1 mill spell soon, preferably. Yep. Down to 19. Come on, deck. 1 time. Mill spell. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Mesmeric Orb counts as a mill spell. Play Mesmeric Orb. Play Ghost Quarter. Pass the turn. This might do it. This might make it so our opponent can't kill us. Mill, mill, mill. Alright, opponent's out of 7 cards. That means they can't just like go crazy with Perforos. And they gotta even worry about attacking. Opponent attacks. Hits us. Down to 12. 6 cards in their deck. Plays a land. Opponent passes. Okay. Mill, mill. Well, there's Fraying Sanity. Oh, that... oh, that actually does it. That actually doubles... that actually is going to double up this mill 3 to mill 6. So our opponent's dead this turn. Mill, mill, mill. And we still have Crypt Incursion. Goes attacking. 2 cards in hand. Hits us for 5. Yup. Down to 7. Oh, is it Secure the Waste? Oh, thank God for Crypt Incursion. Sure. They secure the waste. Our last card, though, is Crypt Incursion. Got him! We got him. Up to 34. Yes, our opponent hits us for 12. And we got the GGs. Crypt Incursion coming through. Sweet. All right, against the odds time. Playing some Fraying Sanity in Modern. And this is fine. Lead on an island, pass the turn. See what our opponent's up to. Blooming. Cycles of Horror. Black Cleave Cliffs. Spirit Guide. And Fulminator Mage. Okay. Let's Thought Scour. See if we can draw a basic land. We do not. Watery Grave, untapped. Run out our Fraying Sanity. Pass the turn. Oh my god. If our opponent cracks a fetch, we have a kill. Do it, opponent. Do it. Do it. You know you want to do it. Come on. Yes! Yes! Crack it! What? Oh, the dream! The dream scenario. I guess I could have Beast Within for Fraying Sanity? Opponent gets in with Fulminator. Demonic Dread. Whoa, we got him. We got him. Sure. So they get back all their stuff, but they die. Sure. Yup. Archive trap you. Archive trap you. 29 cards in the graveyard. Oh, Fraying Sanity finishes it off. Our poor opponent. They can't beat our deck. Oh, that's the best Fraying Sanity kill we've had yet. Oh my god. Whoo! And that's before we bring in Mono Graveyard Hate. Oh, good golly. Alright, go down the Fatal Pushes. Go down Dismember. Go down Traumatize. Go down a couple Mesmeric Orbs. And maybe one Fraying Sanity and one Inquisition. Try it like that. Alright, this hand's actually pretty good. Not at killing our opponent, but it's good at not losing to our opponent. Bloodstained Mire. Opponent passes. Well, play Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. Ooh, double Street Wraith. Okay. Blackleaf Cliffs. Now, crack our Polluted Delta. Grab a Swamp. Ooh, another Surgical. Flooded Strand. Crack Flooded Strand. Grab an Island. Pass the turn. Cycles. Cracks Bloodstained Mire. And cycles. Sure. Cycles. There's the Blooming Marsh. Opponent passes. Well, play Ghost Quarter. Pass the turn. See what our opponent has. Cycles Street Wraith. Cycles Carabid. Okay. The danger is they can somehow Living End, counter our negate. Then things could still go wrong. Opponent passes. Ooh, Crypt Incursion's good. Play Ghost Quarter. Pass the turn. Well, we should be able to force this action sometime soon. Opponent cracks Catacombs. Gets a Swamp. Cycles. Alright, untaps. We could just use more lands. Plays a tap land. Opponent passes. Watery Grave. Untapped. That's actually a pretty big draw. Pass the turn. See what our opponent does. Cycles. Alright. So I think we Crypt Incursion our opponent. Opponent goes Violent Outburst. Oh, I think we just win the game here. So there's Living End. So now we Umbrella negate the Living End. Get rid of all the creatures. And now we just Surgical Living End. Oh man, that is so brutal. Oh, our opponent just lost. Our opponent just lost it all. Living End down, Living End down, Living End down. Couple of Cyclers left in hand. Alright. And now we start aggressively milling our opponent to finish this game off. Opponent has Lost Legacy. Sure. I mean, they can take our Surgical now. We decimated our opponent. They're going to take our Fraying Sanities, which is fine. We have enough mill that we should be able to win even without Fraying Sanity. It sounds weird, but maybe we Surgical a land to get more lands out of our opponent's deck to up the odds that we mill more with Mind Funeral. That's going deep, but we're going to do it. Let's go for Verdant. Probably should have looked at our opponent's deck first. All right. Get rid of the 4 Verdants. I don't think our opponent can win from here. Untap. And now we Mind Funeral. Oh my goodness! That plan failed miserably. Alright, pass the turn. Opponent's down to 20 cards, so we're close to just naturally winning. And we're at 39, and we can gain a bunch more life, so I feel like we're in great shape. Opponent passes. We get a Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. Desert Ceradon, not likely to get it done here. Opponent gets in with the Ceradon. Down to 33. Alright, let's just cast this Archive Trap. Crack Polluted Delta. So now we're any mill card away from just winning right away. It's an island. Well, let's Ghost Quarter, Blackcleave Cliffs. Ghost Quarter, Blackcleave Cliffs. So, double strip mine. Makes it a little harder for our opponent to cast anything. Pass the turn. We might just be able to wait our opponent out, actually. We're going to gain another big chunk of life with this Crypt Incursion. Opponent hits us for 10. Yep, down to 22. Plays a land. Well, you gotta say our opponents, they're fighting the good fight, but we have Crypt Incursion number 2, which should put the game out of reach. Up to 49. Oh, goodness. And we drew the Damnation. Oh, we just drew the nuts against our opponent's deck. I don't think they can kill us before they run out of cards. I don't think we even have to draw mill cards. I think we just pass our turn for the next few turns. Gonna kick back here, put the feet up, watch our opponent futilely fight the fight. Alright, we'll pass the turn. Doesn't really matter at this point. Opponent's not gonna get many more cards in their graveyard. Opponent hits us down to 44. Okay. Yep, Horror the Broken Lands. Well, I guess we just kill our opponent since we can. We could have just kept passing, but let's just put our opponent out of their misery. Archive Trap. And that does it! Living End is not going to beat Fraying Sanity very often. That much is clear. Alright, against the odds time. Playing some Fraying Sanity in Modern. And I guess this is fine. No Fraying Sanity, but we maybe thought Scour into one. So let's Darkslick Shores and Inquisition. Looks like our opponent's playing Burn. We will take the Goblin Guide. Pass the turn. Well, this is probably just going to be a race. Inspiring Vantage for our opponent. And Grim Lavamancer. Yep. We'll play Darkslick Shores, play Mesmeric Orb, and pass the turn. So mill 1, Lightning Helix. Inspiring Vantage for our opponent. Gets in with the Lavamancer. I think our best card in this matchup is, I can't think of the name of it now. The Exile the Graveyard Game Life thing. Crypt. I want to say Crypt Breaker, but I know it's not Crypt Breaker. We'll probably mill it here, and then we'll know the name. Thought Scour, Glimpse. Oh my god. That's Fraying Sanity. Alright, so generally, Burn is just a better mill deck. However, when we have a 3-mana Furnace of Wrath, we might actually be able to outburn Burn. We are going to fuel their Grim Lavamancer, but we're going to mill at least 6 here. Glimpse is 20, Thought Scour is 4. If our opponent taps out, we could play another Mesmeric Orb. Sacred Foundry. Yep. Lavamancers are face. Down to 13. Suspends a Rift Bolt. We do a bit more milling. We mill ourselves. Land, Mind Funeral, Ghost Quarter. Alright, so I think we just play another Mesmeric Orb. Inquisition. Hopefully get some damage out of our opponent's hand. Opponent bolts us down to 13. Opponent's on blanks. Alright. This is it. This is it. This is it. Can we win next turn? That's the question. We get 1 mill here. We get 8. Wait, 4, 8. We get 8 Mesmeric Orb mills. Doubles to 16. Glimpse is 20. Plus Thought Scour is 4? Is that gonna be enough? It is gonna be super close. I don't think our opponent can kill us this turn, even with the suspended card, because they have 5 damage. There's no 5 damage burn spell they can draw. So in theory, if we kill our opponent this turn, we should be good. So opponent's down to 25. So let's Thought Scour our opponent, and then Glimpse our opponent. Play an island. I think this does it. Opponent's at 13. Oh, they go to 1! But if they tap their Lavamancer, they lose. to Mesmeric Orb. And our foe scoops it up. Wow, we outraced them. Fraying Sanity. Whoo! Good gracious. Okay. Let's bring in Crypt Incursion. That seems important in this matchup. Go down the Damnation. Go up Inquisition. Go down the Thought Seizes. Maybe go up the Negate? Try it like that, I think. Okay. Well, we have powerful cards, but no Fraying Sanity at the moment. And there's Goblin Guide. Opponent gets in. 4-2. We get a land out of the deal. Ooh. Well, it's Darkslick Shores and Inquisition, so we don't have to discard. Burn, 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 Destructive Revelry. I think we have to take Swift Spear. Pass the turn. Oh, boy. Double Goblin Guide. That's not ideal. Opponent gets in. What's on top? Dismember, Dismember. Down to 14. Oh, play an island, play Mesmeric Orb, pass the turn. Yeah, triple 1-drop is going to be hard to beat. Bolts our face. Yeah, we're pretty close to just being dead. So we're down to 7. We could use like a Fatal Push, Watery Grave, and Mesmeric Orb. Ugh, okay. Down to 7. I'll play Darkslick Shores, pass the turn. Mill. Opponent goes combat. Attacks. We kill a Goblin Guide. Mind Funeral on top. Down to 5. I think we gotta draw a Crypt Incursion. Not Crypt Incursion. Thought Scour our opponent. Draw a card. Crypt Incursion? No. Well, yeah, we're dead. I guess we can Mind Funeral and just see what we hit, but there's no way it's gonna mill 42. Not possible. Ooh, opponent has Relic. Interesting. But yeah, we'll scoop it up. That was just a really good draw for our opponent, and they were on the play. Alright, we get to play first. Alright, I guess we can keep this. Watery Grave, tapped, pass the turn. Wouldn't mind more colored mana. See what our opponent has. Vantage. And, ooh, Relic, okay. Play Ghost Quarter, play Mesmeric Orb to start the fun. Pass the turn. Mill a Helix. Wow, cracks the Relic, okay. Man, that is a risky keep. Mill. Ooh, there's more black mana. So play Darkslick Shores, Inquisition our opponent. I guess we take Destructive Revelry, pass the turn. We're mostly just hoping our opponent doesn't draw lands for a minute. Come on, mill a land. Mills a Swift Spear. There's a land. Lava Spike, down to 17. And Relic. Well, let's Thought Scour. Mill our opponent, draw a card. Could use Fraying Sanity. It seems like they're really worried about graveyard exiling effects that we actually aren't playing. Play Darkslick Shores, pass the turn. Mill. Our opponent's so paranoid that we're gonna do something to their stuff, but we didn't even bring in the surgical extractions. Alright, mill. Ooh. I'll play a second orb. Play the island, pass the turn. Boros Charm down to 13. Get a ton of mill triggers. Land. Opponent's passing. Mill. We draw land. Well, play Ghost Quarter. Pass the turn. Opponent helixes us down to 10. Okay, we get 4 mill triggers. Opponent passes. We draw more land. No, not like this deck. Come on, Cryptic Incursion. Sacks Relic. Draws a card. Bolts our face down to 7. Oh, we've just mega flooded. Mill. Opponent draws their green mana. Oh no. Stomping Grounds. Untapped. Opponent passes. Deck! Alright, that's game. We just haven't drawn any action. Look at this flood. Yeah, now we're literally dead. Destructive Revelry. Yep, can't do anything about it. Archive Trap our opponent. Not that it matters. Shard Volley. Yep. I guess we can... Well, actually, maybe our opponent has no basics left? That's probably not impossible, considering there's only 9 cards in their deck. Oh! Strip Mine! Strip Mine activated! No basics left! Oh my goodness! Oh, wow! Are we gonna steal it? They could have a land in hand. No! They've had it in hand! Alright, come on, deck. Give us a mill spell. Mill. Inquisition our opponent? Well, I mean, I guess we gotta take Skullcrack, but if they have a green source left, we're dead. Oh man, a mill spell there would have won it. Do they have a Stomping Ground left in their deck? Apparently not. Mill. Any mill. Alright, well, Negate's not bad. It doesn't win us the game. Lava Spike. Alright, so we get to negate the Lava Spike. Staying alive. Come on. Any mill spell. Yes! It's Glimpse. Oh my goodness, we got there. Oh my god. Oh, no Fraying Sanity. But we got there. Goodness gracious. Oh, double strip mine. And our opponent gave us a GG, so we got there in maybe the most unlikely way possible. We lived for so long. And we'll pass the turn. Opponent draws a card. Unfortunately for them, they don't have any cards to draw. Whew! Thank goodness. What a win. What a way to win. Wow. All right. Sweet. So, what do we learn this week about Fraying Sanity in Modern? And I have to say, the deck actually ran pretty well. So we ended up getting in 5 matches, and we won 4 of them, only losing to the one Emrakul deck we faced, where, I feel like if we do our bright sideboard cards, we'd have a chance in that matchup, but honestly, main deck Emrakul is just super rough for our deck. So that was our one loss, 80% match win percentage. Also got in 13 games and won 8 of them, which drops our game win percentage down to like 60%, which means we played a lot of super close matchups. All of our matches, almost all of our matches, went to the full 3 games. We did squeak out wins in a lot of them, but a lot of them were close. So it's not like we were just blowing people out. But the deck actually worked pretty well. Of course, like any mill deck in Modern, there's some bad matchups. We kind of talked about it. We are going to run into Emrakul decks some percentage of the time. And basically, we made a conscious choice to go with Crypt Incursion as our main deck graveyard hate spell rather than something like Surgical. Surgical's better if you're afraid of Emrakuls. Crypt Incursion, on the other hand, gives us free wins against random creature decks. Affinity, green-white, company decks, any of those kind of decks, we get free wins thanks to the life gain of Crypt Incursion. And I felt like those decks were more popular than Emrakul decks, but I don't know. Maybe some amount of Surgicals in the main deck would still be worth it. Fraying Sanity itself is really powerful. We saw the good and bad of it. We saw games where we just got turn 3, I believe, kills, or turn 4 kills by the time our opponent drew a card with Fraying Sanities and Archive Traps, and that's something that the mill deck just didn't have before. That's a super fast clock, so with the right draws and a Fraying Sanity lets mill do things that just wasn't possible before Fraying Sanity was printed. We also saw games where, I think it was the red-white tokens game that we lost, where our opponents, down to 1 card in their deck, we're hoping for a Thought Scour even our worst mill spell will win us the game, and we draw a Fraying Sanity on the top, and of course by itself Fraying Sanity doesn't mill any cards, so it's really good at giving us these faster kills, and I think it does make the mill deck better, because one of the problems from playing past mill decks that I would often run into is you get your opponent down to 10 cards. You get them down to 8 cards, something like that, and you just can't get over the hump. You just barely fizzle out before you die. And with Fraying Sanity, that's usually not a problem. It really only takes 2 Glimpsy Unthinkables or Mind Funerals, 2 of any of our good mill spells, Archive Traps, to close out the game after a Fraying Sanity, and it's very possible to just Fraying Sanity on turn 3, 2 mill spells on turn 4, and the game just ends. And that's not even counting like Mesmeric Orb doing some milling and stuff like that. So I think Fraying Sanity was absolutely insane. Maybe the biggest surprise, and we talked about this a bit in the intro, was I don't think the Traumatize combo is actually very good or necessary. I started off, as I mentioned before, with 4 Traumatizes in the deck because that was kind of the most hyped thing about this. You get this mill the entire library combo with Traumatize, and then I realized when we have a Fraying Sanity out, we don't actually need Traumatize. We don't get to the mana for it all that often anyway, but we don't usually need it. All we need is a couple of Mind Funerals or Glimpsy Unthinkables, and we win the game for even less mana than Traumatize. So it just kind of felt like overkill. So we kept in the 1, of course, but I feel like you don't need Traumatize, or even really want Traumatize, to make Fraying Sanity mill a thing. The other thing that's super awesome, and I was very impressed with Fraying Sanity, is it frees up more slots for real cards. We can play more discard, we can play more removal, we can play more Wrath, more Graveyard Hate, because we don't need as many mill cards to win. Like, without Fraying Sanity, you gotta build mill like a burn deck, where you just have to have this massive number, every mill spell possible, because you need every single one to get your opponent down to 0 cards. With Fraying Sanity, you don't really need to overload as much. You just need a couple to win the game, so you can play less mill cards overall, and still have enough mill to finish off the opponent, which gives us more Inquisitions, more Fatal Pushes, more Dismembers, all that kind of stuff, Damnations, and like real good cards that let us stay alive. So it makes the deck less all in and gives it a little bit more of a resiliency that wasn't there before Fraying Sanity. So overall, very impressed with Fraying Sanity in the middle deck. I mean, we can't complain. We won 4 out of our 5 matches, so that's pretty good. Anyway, that's been our Against the Odds deck for this week. Fraying Sanity for Modern. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.